Hey there, and welcome to my channel. My name is Crafty Kathy, and I am so happy and thankful that you stopped in to do some vintage-inspired Halloween DIYing with me today. I made all of this decor so that it will light up, and the items that I used were from the Dollar Tree, but you won't believe your eyes. So let's jump in. I'm going to start off with these two skeleton hands, and this is the first year that I've ever noticed these at the Dollar Tree, and these are a huge improvement from those old gaudy plastic ones that they used to have. I just took the tags off, and you'll see here the tags just say skeleton hand, and I'm going to dirty these up a little bit, make them look more old and vintage. You don't even have to do that. They look fine the way they are, but I just wanted them to have a more real effect, like a real look. So all I did was take some brown ink and my little dauber, and I went all over the hand, inside and outside, even a little bit between the fingers, because you're not really sure yet what part's going to be showing. So I just went over the whole thing, and I just kind of halfway did it, really. I wasn't trying to be precise or great about it or anything, and I just want to show you the difference in the one that I did and the one that I didn't do. I personally think that it made a huge difference, and you may not think so. You may not even think it's worth the time to do that, but just look at the difference. While I'm working on the second hand, I do need to tell you that you don't have to have special ink like I'm using, or even this dauber. You can literally just use like some Waverly antique wax. If you don't have that, you can just use some brown paint and add a little bit of water to it, like making a stain. Put it on the hand, leave it on there for just a few minutes, and then either wipe it off with just a paper towel or a baby wipe. But I do believe if you used a baby wipe, it would be wiping too much of it off. So I would go with a paper towel. That's what I went with, to just kind of wipe the excess off of mine. And I think they look great. And when I used the paper towel to wipe mine off, I just kind of blotted it off. I didn't rub or do anything that would take too much of the paint off of there. I just was very careful with it. Then you're going to take two boards, whatever you choose. These are actually two of the bamboo cutting boards that I had decoupaged earlier. I, however, am going to use this one that has this ornate shape. I really like it. And here is another idea. These little small black ones, these are all from Dollar Tree. These would be really good. I just wish they were a little bit bigger. But I'm going to take my two boards outside and spray paint them with Rust-Oleum ×2 in the color matte black. Now I'm going to make a mark so that I can find out where the middle of my board is. I flipped it over, and I'm just going to use like a little ruler so I can get the middle portion vertically and horizontally and just make a little dot. Now once you see what this DIY is, you may not want yours to be right in the middle. You may want to go up a little bit higher than I did, but I think that it's kind of best and a good rule of thumb to stay in the middle of your board. The next thing that I did was just took one of those little hacksaws, the ones that we get off of, like the little manual type ones that we get off of Amazon, because I wanted my skeleton's bones here at the end to be flush. One of them was longer than the other, and that just was not going to work out. So I think it was less than an inch that I cut off just so that it would be flush. We're going to place this skeleton's hand right in the center of our little plaque. And to help myself to know where my center was, I laid my little skeleton's hand down, and I just kind of traced around each of the bones so that I could go ahead and start a screw through the back of it, and it would be so much easier to get it to stay on there. I'm also going to use this drill bit to go through the bones, and that way it's going to accept that screw, and nothing is going to break or fall apart whenever the screw goes in. It's not going to crack or anything. And I just put one hole in each of those bones. I'm also going to use that drill bit to go through each of those areas that I had traced where the little bones are going to lay. Now, I thought at first that I was only going to put the screw through one bone, and I placed a hole right smack dab in the middle. Just ignore that. I had to go around it. There was no other way. But here, like I said, I just traced out where the bones are going to hit and made a little pilot hole through each of those. I'm actually doing these DIYs as I go along. And so sometimes the direction changes and I have to make adjustments as I go along. But I always let y'all know the best and easiest way about it. So here I just made sure that everything was going to line up correctly. I'm going to put 2 screws in the back where the bones go. And what I'm going to do is just start the screw, just barely where it's just barely sticking out that other end where the bones are going to go there. With me putting this thing together myself, there was nobody to hold the other side. So I found it so much easier to just put the very tip end of that screw out so that I could place the bone onto it, because we already had that drill bit drilled in the bone, and then I very slowly just kind of pulsed it to where it would go into the bone. I felt that that was the best way. That way, in case anything tried to crack or mess up on me, I could stop and all wasn't lost. But since we made that pilot hole before we started, everything went on seamlessly. I'm going to do that exact same thing to that second bone. I just kind of placed the screw just barely in there, and then I just kind of pulsed it in, and now we have it very secure and it's not going anywhere. Now all you're going to do is just place your little sawtooth hanger on the back. I get these off of Amazon, and these are my favorite hangers because even if you put the things on crooked, they're still going to be perfect every time. And I made 2 of these, and I want to show you how gorgeous these turned out. To style these, I'm going to use some lanterns that I got back from Dollar Tree about a month or 2 ago. They are solar lanterns, but you can use any that you want. I did get these little pieces off of Temu. It's spiders and ghosts and I think witches' hats. I felt like it just needed a couple of these little spiders on there. So all I'm going to do is just put down a little bit of glue and a couple of the little spiders. I just kind of placed them here or there wherever I thought that they would look good, and it didn't take much glue. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to get a hold of any of these solar lanterns, but they are so beautiful and the light from them is so perfect. I'm just going to take some of this black creepy cloth, and this is from Dollar Tree also, and I just kind of want it to be all jaggedy and different lengths, so I just very messily cut it. And I kind of pulled it apart so that it would be different lengths. I even pulled it to where it would just kind of like come open in some spots and just look really, messy and just all over the place. I'm going to take the creepy cloth, lay it on the top of my little lantern, and then screw the top right back on. That way the sun can still hit it and the light will still come on. And when I put it back on there, I just kept on with the kind of tearing that creepy cloth up anywhere where I thought that it might need to be ripped or cut, just so it looks like an old, decrepit looking lantern that you would just see hanging out in a haunted cemetery or something. I wanted to add just one spider that looks like it's climbing up the very front of one of the lanterns, so I just placed it right over the top of the creepy cloth, and I can't believe how this turned out. It's so easy, but so cool. The next DIY is my favorite, and it's very easy. We're just going to take some of this glow-in-the-dark tulle from Dollar Tree. They have purple and orange, and I think they even have black. And then you can use one of these puck lights if you want. These are at Dollar Tree also. But I'm going to show you what I think is a better option for the light. And these are the little spiders that they just came out with this year. So I'm going to take my tool and I'm just going to roll it over on itself. You don't have to be specific with this. It doesn't have to be a certain amount. You're just going to cut out a piece and I'm going to lay it down over the body of my spider and roughly just cut out that shape. And once again, I say it does not have to be perfect at all. And all I'm going to do is just place a little tad of hot glue kind of here and there, just every little bit, and I'm going to glue that tool up on the edge. Now, the most of it's going to be pushed down in there, but we're going to glue it up on that outer edge. I hope that you can see what I'm doing here because that probably makes a lot more sense than what I'm saying. And that's literally all you have to do so far. We're going to do the exact same thing with the orange one. I'm just going to cut out a square and you can double yours up like I did the first time, or you can just cut out one square. It's your DIY. You can do it any way that you like. Now, I did buy 4 of these spiders because I had this DIY in mind, and I'm so glad that I got that many. I put a little bit of the hot glue down in the very center of the spider. That way, I could put my tool down in the center and get it nice and stuck, and then just kind of pull the edges up and put the little dab of hot glue here or there, just like I did on the other one. And you don't have to put a lot of hot glue, just enough to kind of hold it every little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be all the way around it, and it does not have to be perfect. Now, off screen, I made another orange and another purple spider, and I'm just going to take these fairy lights. These are Halloween fairy lights that I get off of Amazon. You get 24 of these for $11.99. That's 50 cents for each string of lights. That's way cheaper than Dollar Tree, and they're so much prettier and they last longer. All you're going to do is just kind of open them up, kind of messily. No perfect way. You just kind of open it up, and it's wired, so it's very easy to maneuver. I'm just going to glue the battery pack down to where I can still unscrew it and change the battery if I need to, and put a little bit of hot glue in the spider's head, and I'm going to lay that little battery pack down in her head. I'm going to go around every little bit on the outside of the spider, just like I did with the tool, and it's going to hold the wire. Now, these wires, I do this all the time. You're not going to fry your wire by using the hot glue. Don't worry about that at all, because it's literally just like a tiny little drop kind of here and there. And that's all you have to do to these. And these look so good in a grouping, especially at night. The third DIY is really quick and easy like the other ones have been. We're going to use one of those clear ornaments that normally come out at Christmas, and they're the type that you can fill and put stuff in. Now, most of us crafters have a whole bunch of these laying around, but if for some chance you don't have any of these, you can also use one of those terrariums that you put the succulents in, and there's a few other things at Dollar Tree that you could use in this place. What I'm going to do is open it up, and I'm going to take some of that tulle, just like I had done before, And I'm just going to kind of wad it up or roll it over on itself, if you will. And I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to lay one piece down on the bottom part of the ornament, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side of the ornament. And like I said before, the same goes with this. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be perfect. Matter of fact, if you kind of wad it up, it actually looks a little bit better. Just make sure to kind of fan your fingers out so that that purple will kind of go all the way around your little ornament. Now these are those 24 pack of Halloween lights. They are orange and purple. These are the ones that I told you that are just $11.99. And you see I'm being really messy about it. I just kind of open it up and just kind of make the lights kind of fan out, if you will. And we're just going to place our little ball back together, and we're going to have a beautiful lighted ornament. If there's any of the excess tulle sticking out of your ornament, just grab some scissors and cut it off. It really doesn't matter. But imagine all the possibilities of the things that you could put in these, how cute it would be. I'm going to decorate the outside with some of these rub-on transfers. They came out last year at Dollar Tree, and they're back again. If you can't find them, you can use these DIY stickers that are little wood shapes, and the witch would be really cute on the front of these. But I wanted to do the transfers because it's just the little wooden pieces, you know, won't curve, and I preferred the transfers myself. Once I cut out the pieces that I wanted to use, I decided that I wanted to put this haunted house and the moon on the front of one of them. And so I just kind of placed it right in the center of my little crystal ball. And I'm going to use my fingernail. That's my favorite method of getting transfers off, especially when they're this small. But you can use like a credit card or something of that nature if you don't like to use your nail. And I kind of start off in the very center. That way it just makes it a little bit easier to go on because the ornament is a rounded surface. So the best advice that I can give you to make sure that it doesn't like bubble up or mess up on you is just to go very slowly and take it in sections. Now it took me a little bit to get it on there because I was only using my fingernail, but also because if a piece did not stick down really well, I would just go back over it and do it again. And like I said, I was doing it kind of section by section and very small. That way the whole piece would come on there and it would look good. If you've never done a transfer before, they're super easy. You just peel off that white backing and you lay them down on whatever surface you want to put it on. And then you either use a special tool or your fingernail like I do. And you just get it on the surface where you want it, and you can actually see it coming off. It starts looking cloudy almost, and that's how you know that you're getting a good stick. Now on the other side, I decided just to put one of these little small ghosts and maybe like a bat or a crow or something. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to place it down and start off at the upper part of the ghost head and kind of go down through the center. Now, another thing, if you're having trouble with it laying down correctly on this round ornament, another thing that you can do is just cut it with the scissors. You make a little slit in it where you're having the trouble at. And don't worry, it's not going to mess up your transfer at all. You just keep going and it will just relieve it enough to where it will lay down the way that it needs to lay down. All I can say is just trust me on that and just go really slow and you will be fine. I decided that the ghost kind of looked lonely all there by himself, so I got the larger crow. There's 2 crows on this one sheet, and I did the exact same thing as I did with the other ones. I just took my time and went over it with my fingernail. Now just think of all the things that you could do, that you could put either on the outside or the inside of these. They turn out beautiful every time, and you just can't go wrong with those fairy lights. I'll leave those in the comment section down below, and also they're in the description in case you want to get some of them. I felt like it was still a little plain Jane as it was, and so I'm just going to put a little bit of my hot glue around, not exactly in the center, because remember, you still have to take this ornament, you have to open it up in order to flip your little fairy lights off and on, unless you decide to put your battery pack on the outside. So what I did was put a little bit of the glue more so on one side of that seam where the little ornament comes together, and I put some of this Timu, I guess you call it ribbon. It's almost like tinsel that we used to use at Christmas, the vintage tinsel, and I just kind of placed it all around there. And then I just grabbed some clear colored fishing twine to hang it with. That way it wouldn't be noticeable. And if you decided that you didn't want to hang it up like an ornament, you can set it in that skeleton's hand, and that would be really cool with your little lanterns. I wanted to show it to you both ways. If you stuck with me through all of today's video, I just want to thank you so much. Don't forget that our videos are coming out every Monday and Thursday at 7 o'clock now. And guys, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And don't forget to like the video and leave me a comment. I'll see you soon.